For decades, the United States Navy has been the undisputed ruler of the seas. But a new reality is taking shape, and many analysts are asking a provocative question. Has China developed a strategy that could challenge U.S. naval dominance in its own backyard, effectively shaping the outcome of a potential conflict before it even starts? This isn't about predicting a war, but about understanding a profound strategic shift. How did we get here? Let's break it down. To understand the present, we have to look at the past. After the Cold War, the U.S. Navy was unparalleled. Its fleets of powerful aircraft carriers could project power anywhere on the globe. This was the gold standard of naval might. An American carrier strike group is a floating fortress, a symbol of national power. For a long time, no other nation could even dream of challenging this. The thinking was, in any conflict, the U.S. Navy would sail into the region, establish control, and dictate the terms. But that very dominance planted the seeds for a new kind of strategy. Seeing this overwhelming U.S. advantage, Chinese military thinkers realized that competing head-on, carrier for carrier, was a losing game, at least in the short term. It would take decades and astronomical sums of money to build a fleet that could match the U.S. Navy in a traditional blue water battle. So they asked a different question. Instead of trying to sink the U.S. fleet in the middle of the Pacific, what if we could prevent it from getting close to our shores in the first place? This is the core idea behind a strategy known as Anti-Access Area Denial, or A2AD. Think of A2AD as creating a massive defensive bubble extending hundreds, even thousands of kilometers out from China's coastline. The goal isn't necessarily to sink every ship, but to make it so risky and costly for an opposing force, like a U.S. carrier strike group, to operate inside that bubble that they might not even try. It's a strategy of deterrence designed to make a potential military intervention prohibitively dangerous. It's about raising the entry fee for a conflict so high that no one is willing to pay. So, what are the tools used to create this bubble? One of the most talked about elements is the development of anti-ship ballistic missiles, often called carrier killers. Missiles like the DF-21D and the longer-range DF-26 are revolutionary. Traditionally, aircraft carriers felt safe from ballistic missiles, which follow a high arcing trajectory and were designed for static targets like cities or military bases. Hitting a moving ship at sea was considered nearly impossible. But China has invested heavily in developing maneuverable warheads and sophisticated sensor networks, including satellites, over-the-horizon radar, and undersea sensors, to find, track, and target a carrier group from over 1,000 miles away. The mere existence of these weapons changes the calculus for any naval commander, but it's not just about one silver bullet missile. A2AD is a layered, multi-domain defense system. It's a system of systems. Closer to shore, you have a dense network of advanced cruise missiles launched from ships, submarines, aircraft, and even hidden coastal batteries. Imagine hundreds of fast, sea-skimming missiles coming from all directions. Then, you have China's own rapidly growing navy. While it's still catching up in terms of large aircraft carriers, it has built the world's largest navy by number of ships, including a huge fleet of modern destroyers, frigates, and corvettes, all armed with sophisticated anti-ship and anti-air missiles. And let's not forget what's under the water. China has also built a formidable fleet of submarines, including quiet, diesel-electric subs that are very difficult to detect in the noisy, shallow waters of the East and South China Seas. These submarines can lie in wait, posing a constant, hidden threat to any surface ships passing through critical choke points. This layered defense, from long-range ballistic missiles to submarines lurking below, creates a series of interlocking threats that any approaching fleet must navigate. Each layer complicates the mission and increases the risk. Another crucial pillar of this strategy is what's happening in space and cyberspace. A modern military runs on data. Satellites are the eyes and ears, providing communication, navigation through GPS, and intelligence. China has developed and demonstrated the capability to target these satellites, potentially blinding its adversary. In the cyber domain, the goal would be to disrupt command and control networks, sow confusion, and interfere with the complex systems that manage a modern naval force. If you can't trust your data or communicate with your forces, coordinating a complex naval operation becomes a nightmare. This non-kinetic warfare is a key part of the A2AD strategy. So, when we talk about winning a war before it begins, this is what it means. It is about creating a strategic reality where the risks for the United States to intervene militarily in a conflict near China's coast, say over Taiwan, have become incredibly high. A U.S. president would have to weigh the potential loss of a multi-billion-dollar aircraft carrier and thousands of lives against the objectives of the mission. The A2AD strategy is designed to make that decision excruciatingly difficult, potentially deterring intervention altogether. The battle is won in the mind of the decision-maker long before any shots are fired. Of course, the United States is not standing still. The Pentagon is acutely aware of this challenge and is actively developing countermeasures. This includes investing in better missile defense systems for its ships, developing its own long-range weapons, and creating new operational concepts like distributed maritime operations. The idea here is to spread out U.S. forces, making them harder to target, rather than concentrating them in a single vulnerable carrier strike group. It's a classic strategic chess match. One side builds a shield, the other side works on a sharper spear. This competition is driving technological innovation on both sides at a breathtaking pace. In conclusion, the rise of China's A2AD capabilities represents one of the most significant strategic developments of the 21st century. It has fundamentally challenged the way the world thinks about naval power, and has shifted the military balance in the Indo-Pacific. By focusing on a defensive asymmetric strategy, China has created a formidable deterrent that forces potential adversaries to think twice. It is a powerful example of how a nation can leverage technology and geography to counter a conventionally stronger opponent. This strategic competition is not a prelude to an inevitable conflict, but a complex, ongoing contest of innovation and will that is reshaping our world. Thank you so much for joining me for this deep dive. I hope this gave you a clearer understanding of this complex topic. If you found this video informative, please hit that like button and consider subscribing for more content like this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.